This is the OTB Television Network, a service of Capital District Off-Track Betting.
Broadcasting live from the Capital OTB studios, this is the Handicappers Report.
Good morning and welcome to the Thursday edition of the Handicappers Report. Seth Barrow and Jeff Carroll. Good morning, Jeff.
Good morning, Seth. Good to be here on a gorgeous Thursday. And they are fast and firm at Belmont today. All races are on the turf. I didn't have to do any extra handicapping and trying to determine which races are staying on, which races are coming off. They're all on today.
We like to hear that. I'll be taking a look at Arlington a little later on as well. Of course, the big news for the next week and a half or so will be the Belmont medal count has been added to the lineup. They lost Candy Boy. I talked a little bit on Racing Across America. It was interesting. Candy Boy opting out of the Belmont, heading to the Los Alamitos $500,000 or the Los Al Derby. So it looks like right off the bat, Los Alamitos is going to be a little bit of a player out there in Southern California.
Well, you know, it kind of makes sense. You stay home. It's a nice pot. You know, why face California Chrome again? He's whooped you twice in a row. So, I mean, stay home and try to get a little bit of money. Yeah,
so it's shaping up to be a nice field. You know, I said yesterday, I'll get your opinion, because there was an article, I think it was a news service article that was popping around some different locations. I linked to one of the versions on Equidaily, so it might have been an AP article, but they had quoted a bunch of connections from previous Triple Crown winners, Penny Chenery, Patrice Wolfson, some of the jockeys and other trainers, who all seem to favor the traditional Triple Crown schedule. The first Saturday in May, 2 weeks later, the Preakness, 3 weeks later, the Belmont Stakes. They kind of, a couple of them felt, Chenery and Wolfson certainly felt that changing it up would kind of invalidate what has already been done. I'm ambivalent about it. I used to be a traditionalist. Now, if it went either way, I'd probably tilt slightly towards the tradition. But one of the points I made yesterday is, first of all, I think we have to decide why are we doing it. And if it's, we want to see more Triple Crown winners, I think that's a completely invalid idea. Mm-hmm. I don't want to make it any easier, nor do I think that would necessarily make it easier. But then there was also, we would get better fields because horses don't like to come back that quickly. So if you spread it out, the fields would be a little bit better. But I don't know, if you finish 12th in the Derby, whether it's 2 weeks or 3 weeks or 4 weeks, or you're coming back in the Preakness. So I'm not sure that's really going to work out either. So I think we have to kind of define why we really want to make the change. And in this day and age, will that happen?
I'm for keeping it the way it is. I think it's intriguing. You know, to me, you know, yeah, a lot of the horses coming out of the Derby skip the Preakness. But then you get some new shooters. And I know sometimes the Preakness has come up almost like, you know, an allowance race. When Big Brown won, that really nobody faced him. But I thought this year's Preakness had some intrigue. Yeah. You had Social Inclusion, who a lot of people thought had as much talent as any 3-year-old in the country, but didn't have the experience. You know, Ring Weekend jumped in. He'd won the Tampa Bay Derby. You know, Kid Cruz, you know, didn't run well in the Preakness, but at least he had a win over the racetrack in the Tessio. So there was some decent new shooters coming in. I mean, some of them had as good as resumes as a lot of the horses that ran in the Kentucky Derby. Yeah. So, to me, I thought the Preakness was somewhat of an intriguing race. And now you've got, you know, the fresher horses that skip the Preakness taking a run at California Chrome. So, to me, I think it works. It is difficult, supposed to be difficult.
And I laugh because this gets brought up in this discussion every year. You hear the sportscasters on the typical news shows, you know, who clearly are not the call-in sports radio shows, who clearly are not huge horse racing fans, who say, well, what it should be is if you run in the Derby, then you have to run in the Preakness and you have to run in the Belmont. And if you haven't run in the Preakness, you can't run And I think, well, by the time they got to the Belmont, it'd be a 2-horse field. You know, I think they completely don't get the whole gist of, you know, the horse comes out, like I say, you finish 13th, 14th in the Derby, you have no impetus to go forward to the Preakness, and so the fields are just going to dwindle down. That is certainly not the solution, some kind of requirement that horses have to run in all three. But as I say, just about every year at this time, as this discussion comes up, you hear those call-in radio hosts and whatnot say that. Well, it doesn't seem fair. They should have to run in all three, and I kind of think, no, that's definitely not the solution.
Yeah, mainstream sports media, I mean, racing has become a niche sport. But, Seth, I think what has to change is the way horses are trained. I mean, I don't know why all of a sudden horses can't run every several weeks. I think a lot of it has to do with the amount of permissible drugs that you can give a horse. I mean, I think everybody's starting to get in the same boat that there's just too many things that are allowed. And, when you load horses up before a race, it takes them a while to come back from that. And I don't think Lasix so much is the issue. I mean, you can give them a tube of electrolytes and they come back relatively quickly. There's so many other things that are permissible that I think that's not allowing horses to rebound. And I think things need to change in that effect. But I like the way it's run. I think we've had several close calls.
Oh, yeah.
We've had several close calls. And I think if I'll Have Another was healthy 2 years ago, he could have pulled a wagon and beaten that field. So I think we've had close calls. It's been 36 years. And to me, there's a whole generation and a half that I've never seen a Triple Crown winner. I was in with Brian Nadeau last week. He's 38 years old. He was born 2 years before Affirmed won, so he's never seen one. And I conveyed to Brian, I said, there's a whole generation of people working on the backstretch that have never seen, a Triple Crown winner. And do I think a Triple Crown winner is going to immediately change racing? No, but maybe it gives some inspiration, some hope to people. I mean, one of the reasons I became involved in racing is as a little boy, I watched Secretariat win the Triple Crown. Yeah. Then I got to see, Seattle Slew and Affirmed, and it really piqued my interest. I grew up in cow country in Chenango County. I didn't grow up around horses, but that piqued my interest and got me involved in the sport. So maybe in that aspect, it'll help.
And that's what I've always said, this whole thing, will a Triple Crown winner save the sport? I'd say, but it raises awareness, brand awareness for the sport of horse racing. I was in my bank the other day, and the teller brought up the Triple Crown and said he's not a horse racing fan, but he's certainly going to be watching. And I think that's what happens. And then out of that large group of people, there's a smaller group of people who will continue on. Particularly, let's say if California Chrome wins a Triple Crown, then shows up in the Travers. Those type of people who are watching this weekend on television may be compelled to go to the track that day. And so you raise the awareness, and that then brings some new fans to the sport. It's not some overnight sensation, but it certainly helps the sport. There's no question about it. Just before we get to the handicapping, I also wanted to bring up nice weekend down at Penn National, the Penn Mile, that brand new race last year that they put onto the calendar for 3-year-olds going a mile on the turf. Came up with a pretty nice field again this year. They have $500,000 on the line. They got a field of 8, but it's a pretty good field of 8. Tommy Proctor has Global View in, coming off a win in the American Turf down at Churchill Downs. Storming Inty for Chad Brown, who 4 wins and 8 career starts. Ran second in that same American Turf down at Churchill. Divine Oath, very lightly raced, but showing some promise for Todd Pletcher, and I think deservedly so, the morning line favorite, Bobby's Kitten, Chad Brown, and Ken and Sarah Ramsey. I think you probably have to draw a line through the bluegrass. It just didn't seem to, not all horses transfer synthetic to turf or vice versa, and this one maybe didn't show an affinity for the synthetic the way he has on the turf, but his turf races have been very, very good. So a really nice field of 8 Saturday night down at Penn National for the Penn Mile.
Sure, put up the money and people have come, and at $500,000, I think they kicked off very well last year. Again, I hadn't been to Penn National for a long time, prior to the slots, and then my wife and I were going to a wedding several years ago out in Western Maryland. Happened to be driving by Penn National and just pulled in. We didn't even recognize the place. Since it's been post-casino. So it's great that they're putting some of that money into attracting some of the bigger horses and the bigger names. And even the race before that, the Mountain View. You got Percussion. You've got Golden Ticket, it was Travers winner. You've got Last Gunfighter. Ruler on Ice, he won the Belmont Stakes. I mean, it's a really good race. So it's $200,000. Should be a lot of fun.
Yeah, should be a nice night down there at Penn National. Again, congratulations to them for putting that together last year, and it has continued to be a nice event, it looks like, this year. All right, we'll shift our attention over to the handicapping now. Again, Jeff's going to look at Belmont a little later on. I think they got a little pick six carryover, do they? Or maybe it's, no, I think they do. I think they have a small pick six, and tomorrow there's a bigger one at Santa Anita. But I'm going to be starting things off taking a look at Arlington for Thursday afternoon.
The opener at Arlington Park is 5.5 furlongs. It's a claiming event, fillies and mares 3 and up, which have never won 2 races. Claiming price is $7,500.
6, 4, 1, and 3 for me. The number 6 is Raven with Roses. Showed some nice solid improvement on the move to Arlington Park, so this may be a horse that does appreciate the synthetics. The first couple of starts were over the natural dirt over at Hawthorne. They were okay, but again, nice improvement and broke the maiden. Now, there was also some class relief, state-bred maiden specials to state-bred claiming, but again, did show some kind of affinity for the racetrack. Now moves from that 15 claimer into a 75 non-winners at 2 lifetime. That was a state-bred claimer, maiden claimer. So class-wise, I don't think, class-wise, I think this horse will fit okay, is what I'm trying to say. I don't think it's a big move, but I don't necessarily think normally going 15 to 75-2, I think is a pretty cozy fit, but that was state-bred 15s. This is open 75s, so it's not as much of a positive or nice move as I would normally like. But I'm going to put Raven with Roses on top off of that last race. Prior was, or next is In Tall Cotton, the number 4 horse. Drops, I think that's significant because drops almost half in price. Maybe that raises some red flags, but also adds some blinkers today and has numbers that fit. Florent Giraud is on board. I was looking up the Arlington stats, and he's doing very well and on top of the jockey standings out there, so that's a plus as well. Last race, the buyer figure dipped down a little bit with the move here to Arlington, but it was still a pretty good third-place finish. And again, with the class relief, we'll expect a pretty good race today. And then I'm going to go to number 1, Honor Graham. I just think this horse looks to compete with this bunch. This horse broke the maiden for 17.5 last time. Now, that was over at Hawthorne on a move in from Oaklawn Park. Question mark there. And the reason I didn't use this horse higher up, the buyers are probably a little light to have moved it up over my top 2, but this horse also hasn't tried the synthetics yet. Now, the workout last time at Arlington, it was okay. It wasn't anything special, but the horse will probably run all right. And again, given the maiden breaker at 17.5 and a move against limited winners for 7,500 today, I think class-wise it'll be okay. So in the opener, 6, 4, 1, and 3.
Race number 2 at Arlington Park is 1 mile. It is a starter optional claiming event for fillies and mares 3 and up.
3, 6, 5, and 2. The number 3 is Sydney Rella, and I said that correctly, Sydney Rella. Pretty solid numbers in the last 2, including a good win on this track. Tim Thornton on board, was on board last time. And again, those 2 numbers and that nice daylight win last time just says to me a horse that's in some very good form, has an affinity for the track. A lifetime record over the track is 5 exacta finishes in 8 starts. So again, good form, likes the track. Let's look for this one to come right back. And I'm even money favorite. I'm being master of the obvious here, but I think is going to validate that. Second spot, the number 6, Blue 40. Another horse that likes this track, 8 starts, 5 wins and a second place finish here at Arlington, but does move up off the claim. So class-wise, might be a little bit of a condition move that is a question mark, but did win last time pretty nicely. So I think this horse, again, another one of those in some pretty good form. Third start off a little bit of an earlier season layoff today. So might all add up that this horse will fit despite a little bit of a move up off the claim. Third spot, we'll go with the number 5, Barry Knoll. To me, the layoff is a concern. This horse took a late summer layoff, came back, put in a couple of starts in November, and has been off since then. So the question mark is, will this horse need a race? But it has a nice workout leading into this, a nice 47 flat. So I have a feeling this horse will be on its toes. It is Roger Brueggemann and Midwest Thoroughbreds, and they're usually primed to run. So I'll put Barry Knoll in the mix. Again, layoff is a concern, but otherwise I think fits. In the second, 3, 6, 5, and 2.
Race number 3 at Arlington Park is a maiden special weight event, 4.5 furlongs for 2-year-old fillies.
I'm going to go with a 1 entry on top. The 1 entry, 3, 7, and 5, and the 1 entry is pretty much just kind of a trainer play. This is an early season 2-year-old sprint, 2-year-old maiden special sprint. Wesley Ward trains both halves of the entry, and this is kind of his specialty. Both of these horses have starts under their belt, one at Churchill, one at Presque Isle. Both ran decently. Sunset Glow second, to be determined third in the career debut, but I think with that education under their belt and Wesley Ward in their corner, I think the 1 entry looks very, very interesting in here. Second spot, another horse that I think looks interesting is Heat Transfer. This is a first-time starter for Larry Ravelli. Ravelli going very, very well early in the meet, does pretty well with first-time starters. This horse at Ocala earlier this year attracted $190,000. Now, this is an Ohio bred, so that jumped off the page a little bit. $190,000 for an Ohio bred, and at that 2-year-old sale, worked a very quick 10.1. This is the dam's first foal to race, so we couldn't find much there. But again, 10.1 at the sale, $190,000 for an Ohio bred, connections with high percentages. Heat Transfer, to me, very dangerous in here. Third spot, the number 7 Conference. Another first-time starter, and the last 2 workouts to me are kind of interesting, show a little bit of life. Trainer's also good first time out of the box. So again, there's some stats on the page that just say this horse might be live coming out in the career debut. Third at Arlington, the 1 entry, 3, 7, and 5.
Moving along to race number 4 at Arlington Park. It's 6 furlongs. It's a claiming event for 3 and up, which have never won 3 races. Claiming price is $7,500.
5, 6, 3, and 4. The number 5 is Half Foxy. Just looking at this horse, a possible pace angle in here. I think this horse might try to speed pop him. Now, this is one of those horses you have to go floor back to see when that worked, and that was on a muddy sealed track. Has tried to get out to the front since then, and occasionally does get to the front but then fades, so it's a little bit dicey, but gets some class relief today. I'm thinking there really isn't otherwise much speed in the race. Perhaps the number 6 can show a little bit of early speed, but I think Half Foxy is the speed and can, as I say, try to speed pop them, and we'll see what happens in this particular field without much speed and with a little bit of class relief. Half Foxy might be able to take them all the way. Second spot, the number 6 Kingwood. Gets some class relief and some significant class relief. Last 3 races, 16, 25, 22.5. Comes back for $7,500 today. The numbers fit, and with the class relief, probably even fit better. And in the third spot, the number 3 horse, Iolanda's Perfect. Just one of those where I have to believe, and you see a trouble line in there, I have to believe you can draw a line through that last one. It looks like a little bit of an aberration, although we see a number dip 2 starts back as well. But otherwise, except for those 2 starts, the numbers this horse fires is definitely competitive with this bunch. I'm going to look for a start maybe more closer to what we saw 2 starts back, which was right at this level and was on the move to Arlington from Hawthorne earlier this season. I think that race last time probably does have an excuse that you see in the past performance line, just because it is a little too much of an aberration. And we'll get back to those numbers in the low to mid 60s buyer-wise, which again fits well with this bunch. Arlington's 4th, 5, 6, 3, and 4.
Race number 5 at Arlington Park is on the turf course. The distance is about 1 mile and a 16th. It's an allowance event for fillies and mares 3 and up, registered Illinois breds.
2, 7, 3, and 5. The number 2 is Cracking Good Pins, and this one, another one of those where the layoff is a concern. You just never know whether they might need one or whether they're going to be primed, especially in this day and age. 20 years ago, I would have always thought they need to be primed, but look on May 10th and you see a very nice bullet workout. Best of 42, 59 flat. So I have a feeling this horse will be well meant today, and going off the races last year, I think Cracking Good Pins will be the one to beat if that fitness is there. Second spot, the number 7, Mission Storm, might benefit from the seasonal debut. This is a horse that did have a long layoff, September until May. Showed some good speed in that one before a bad fade, but sometimes that nice you know, the nice line of ones in there in the previous start indicates this one is gaining a little bit of fitness, is ready to primed to move forward in the next start. That's kind of what I'm hoping. So again, I'm hoping that seasonal debut has Mission Storm set up for a better effort today. And Maya Facia Bella, the number 3 horse, okay second in a similar event last time. That was on the move from Hawthorne to Arlington. The Arlington record is nothing superb necessarily, but that Arlington win last time was on the synthetic. The record is on the Arlington turf, and there is one win on the turf. So I'm looking for that synthetic second place last time to maybe add some fitness and have this one set up to move over to the Arlington turf with a successful effort today, at least getting up into the mix. In the 5th, I have a 2, 7, 3, and 5.
There you have it. Set selections from races 1 through 5 at Arlington Park. We need to take our first break, but when we come back, we'll finish out today's Arlington Park card, so please stay with us. You're watching the OTB TV Network.
Now Seattle Slew goes for the lead.
Well, the gate opened. I went to the first two, and I couldn't believe I was by myself. To me, at that time, the race was over.
They're nearing the finish line. It's still Seattle Slew, and he's opened it out to 4.5.
He's just here to win the Belmont. Never mind the Triple Crown. That was like, dream come true to me.
There are races and there are events. On Saturday, June 7th, experience the richest day in the history of the Belmont Stakes.
I'm Seth Merrill. Join me weekdays at 10 for Racing Across America. We'll look at important races from around the country, get insight from top handicappers and analysts, and preview the upcoming week in racing. That's Racing Across America, weekdays at 10, right here on the OTB TV Network.
Here in upstate New York, no one provides bettors with more wagering options than Capital OTB. Our network of branch and easy bet locations stretches from the mid-Hudson Valley all the way to the Canadian border and west to central New York. So whether you need to place a bet, fund your Capital Bets account, or watch the next big race, all the action is just around the corner. A full list of our branch and easy bet locations can be found online at capitalotb.com. Capital OTB, the better and most convenient choice for wagering in upstate New York.
On Preakness Day, no one brought you more insight, more analysis, and more information crucial to the professional horse player than OTB TV, with live coverage from Pimlico, including Pimlico track announcer Dave Rodman, HorsePlayerNow.com's Brian Nadow, and none other than California Chrome's exercise rider Willie Delgado, each with their own expert analysis and first-hand look at track conditions and early morning workouts. So for the very latest racing news and opinions, keep it right here on OTB TV.
I'm Steve Beck.
And I'm Seth Merrill.
Together, we're loose on the lead on Capital OTB, Sundays at 10 a.m. Why should they watch, Seth?
Sit down on Sunday, have a bagel, get some great racing conversation.
Cream cheese only, no jelly. Sundays, 10 a.m., loose on the lead, Capital OTB.
Good morning and welcome back to the Handicappers Report. Thank you for joining us on this Thursday morning. Before the break, Seth gave you his selections, races 1 through 5 at Arlington Park. Let's move along to race number 6. It's 6.5 furlongs. It is a maiden claiming event. For 3 and up, the claiming price is $12,500 down to $10,000.
I have it 1, 2, 4, and 7. I will take a little shot on the first-time starter, back them down. This one had a full sibling called Smokey Stover that you might remember. And going through the first 6 starts of Smokey Stover's career, a win, a second, a win, a couple more seconds, and another win. So Smokey Stover certainly got his career off. And that, again, that's a full sibling. Got off his career to a very successful start. Overall, Smokey Stover, 14 career starts, 8 wins, 4 second-place finishes, and he became a graded stakes winner. Now, that said, again, that was a full sibling. That said, this is a horse that is making, kind of a belated debut, let's put it that way, and at the 12.5 level, which is about $10,000 less than they paid at auction. So the signals are this one isn't going to be as talented as Smokey Stover. But it's it's a 12-5 claiming field. And so none of these are world beaters. So on the breeding, I thought it was a little bit interesting. I'll take a little bit of a shot with Back 'em Down. And again, there's mixed signals, with the breeding okay, but with the reality of where the horse was placed and everything, it's a little bit dicey. But we'll take a shot with Back 'em Down. Second spot, Risey Boy, the number 2 horse, showed some nice improvement with the move to Arlington in the second career start. Gets probably a lateral move, because last time was a state bred 15, today's an open 12-5. So again, class-wise, it's probably, as I say, just a lateral move. And the race last time was good enough to think with that kind of a move, this horse will be right back in the mix. Third spot, the number 4, Steel Vice. 11 starts so far, only 3 third-place finishes, but 2 of those were in the last 3 starts. The buyer figures are improving over those last 3 starts, and I think this one is also interesting on the cutback. Stretched out to 1.70 miles last time. Number-wise was okay, but wound up 5th. But I think, again, that stretch out, now the cutback today, maybe we'll see a little bit of improvement from Steel Vice, so that one becomes interesting also. In the 6th at Arlington, I have it 1, 2, 4, and 7.
Race number 7 at Arlington Park. Back to the turf course we're going to go. The distance is about 1 mile and 1/16. It's a claiming event for 3 and up. The claiming price is $12,500 down to $10,000.
5, 2, 8, and 10 for me. The number 5 is Cars and Trucks. Drops and has a bullet work, and a very, very nice bullet work. May 21st, 46 flat, best of 25. Last race, beginning of March, down at Tampa. But again, I think that bullet work says the fitness level will be there, and the class relief should also be beneficial for this one. Last time at Tampa ran for 20. Prior to that was over at Gulfstream, and a couple of optional claimers, was not in for the tag. Those were at the end of last year. So again, had a little bit of a break and then came back in that Tampa race. Ran okay. Now class drop, bullet work. We'll put Cars and Trucks on top. 5-1 on the morning line. I think that's an interesting play in here, given the scenario. Second spot, the number 2, Mech Dancer. This is another one that drops, likely to move up off of the 2014 seasonal debut. Laid off from October until May 9th. Didn't show a whole lot that day. Had 7-pound apprentice on board, and just really not ever got into the running. But it was a yielding turf course. First start of the year. Now comes back in the second start, gets the class relief. Manny Esquivel is on board today, so maybe we'll see some improvement. Again, could be primed off of that seasonal debut to run better, and moves into the journeyman jockey. Not the long-time journeyman jockey, but a journeyman jockey nonetheless. So Mech Dancer in the second spot, and in the third spot we'll bounce out to the number 10, Switching to Glide. And to me, the last turf start signals that this horse may appreciate the return to grass. Was on the dirt last time, didn't show much, but that turf start, two back down at Tampa, a good third. Again, signals that getting back to the grass may be beneficial for this one, and if we get back to that Tampa race, Switching to Glide, certainly eligible to be up in the mix. In the 7th at Arlington this afternoon, 5, 2, 10, and 8.
Race number 8 at Arlington Park is going to stay in the turf course. This one is about 1 mile. It's a claiming event for fillies and mares 3 and up, which have never won 2 lifetime, and the claiming price is $25,000.
I have it 7, 6, 4, and 5. The number 7 is Flattering Touch. Goes out for Brueggemann at Midwest. And I'm just going to take a shot. 4-1 on the morning line. It's first off the claim for Midwest and Brueggemann. Obviously very, very crafty, claiming connections. Various parts of the country are Midwest thoroughbreds. They claimed this horse last time for $10,000. They move up to $25,000. They move the horse over to the turf. They're good first off the claim, and as I say, crafty connections, playing the claiming game. I'm going to take a little shot in here and think Flattering Touch will show some improvement for them first off the claim, and could be interesting with the move to the turf today. Second spot, the number 6, Book Club, gets some class relief. Last time out ran for a 40 tag. Prior to that was in Allowance Company. Comes back today for $25,000 for Wayne Catalano, so off the class relief the last 3. And the number's fired. against that better competition. I think Book Club will be live against this particular bunch. And then in the third spot, we'll go to the number 4, Reality Star. Claimed last time, claimed for 12.5. Seems improved over the past couple of starts. 2 back at Keeneland. Last time right here at Arlington. Again, improved enough to break the maiden last time in a pretty good effort with a good number, good winning margin. Bumps up off of that, but bumps up against limited winners. So tries the turf as well. I just think those last 2 just seem to indicate this horse is moving in the right direction. Question marks again will be the class level and the surface, but I just think this horse is moving in the direction that says probably could jump up and contend today. In the 8th, 7, 6, 4, and 5.
Race number 9, the finale at Arlington Park today. 6.5 furlongs. It is a starter optional claiming event for 3 and up.
7, 2, 8, and 9. The number 7 is Razzo Suco, and just had a similar win last time. Was in this optional 10 starter allowance 5 condition. Going 6 furlongs, goes 6.5 today. So that may be the question mark, but a good closing effort last time. I think there's enough speed in here to set things up again. So has the running scenario, won a similar race last time. I think Razzo Suco deservedly the morning line favorite. Second spot, number 2, Angel Talk. Just behind my top pick last time. This one was on the front end much of the way and just got caught. And again, I think there are a couple other horses in here that will provide, again, some company and some pace up front to shoot at. So with the extra half furlong, that's also a little bit dicey. But I think Angel Talk, off the good effort, the gritty good effort last time to hang on for second, has to be in the mix. And then True Bill. True Bill was behind my top 2 last time. They ran first and second. This one ran 4th, but ran 4th with a little bit of a back-of-the-pack closing effort to come from 7th in a field of 9 to wind up 4th. So, as I say, there's some pace to shoot at today. That closing effort may be the strategy that will move this one up a little bit. In the 9th, I have it 7, 2, 8, and 9.
There you have it. Set selections for the entire Arlington Park card. We're going to take another break, and when we come back, I'll give you my picks for Belmont, where it's fast and firm. All races are on the turf. So please stay with us. You're watching the OTB TV Network.
Secretariat has opened a 22-length lead.
When I look up at the crowd, they were just going wild. Jumping up and down, and look at big ocean of people. Just amazing.
Unbelievable, an amazing performance.
I will never forget that day.
There are races and there are events. On Saturday, June 7th, experience the richest day in the history of the Belmont Stakes.
Missed one of our TV shows? No worries. Now you can catch all your favorite programs online. Simply log on to CapitalOTB.com and click on the YouTube link at the bottom of the homepage. And look for our new podcast coming soon. CapitalOTB.com. Log on today.
The future of online betting is here, and only at the all-new CapitalOTBBet.com. With a newly designed and engineered internet wagering platform, enhanced video streaming, additional funding options, and 3 new individual wagering opportunities, CapitalOTBBet.com delivers a state-of-the-art wagering experience found nowhere else in horse racing. Combine that with our all-new mobile website. You have 2 of the most powerful, innovative, and advanced wagering platforms available today. CapitalOTBBet.com. Log on today.
Each morning on the OTB TV network, you get the very best in horse racing programming. Weekdays begin with the Handicappers Report, where professional handicappers share their selections and analysis of the day's racing. Followed by Racing Across America, a daily conversation with racing personalities from around the country. Saturdays include Down the Stretch, where Mark Casano speaks with the biggest names in racing. And Sunday mornings, it's Loose on the Lead, where Steve Bick and I offer news and a unique lineup of weekly guests. All here on the OTB TV network.
I got it. Watch me. I got it. Hey! I got something that makes me want to shout. I got something that tells me what it's all about. I got a move that tells me what to do. If you don't, brothers and sisters, then you won't know what it's all about.
Hey race fans, head down to the all-new Clubhouse Racebook. With live horse racing on more than 250 flat-screen TVs, state-of-the-art wagering terminals, and amazing Vegas-style atmosphere. The Clubhouse Racebook, 711 Central Avenue, Albany.
Welcome back to the Handicappers Report on this Thursday morning. Seth, Merrow, and Jeff Carl, happy you took the time to join us. Hopefully we can give you out some good information. I just took a look at Arlington. Jeff will now shift our attention down to New York and Belmont Park for Thursday afternoon. Their opener today, it's a maiden claimer, $20,000 tags. Fillies and mares, 3-year-olds and up. They will go the one-turn mile. Track
listed as fast. Turf is firm. All races are on the turf today. It was nice coming in this morning. Not have to try to figure out which races are on and which are off, but I have a couple people that I follow on Twitter. Mark Hennig and Dave Grenig, they come out with the information before the NYRA website does, but no concerns with that today. Everybody is on the grass. In the opener on the main track, I went 5, 3, and 7. The number 5, Unafraid, is 15-1 in the morning line, and you know I'm pretty sure this filly's been in a couple times last week or so. I know I've had it in my mix. Because I think there's still room for improvement from number 5, Unafraid. And I'm going to take a chance in here with a field. Obviously, they're very suspect run for maiden $20,000. And Unafraid's only making her 4th career start and had a nice, major improvement from her 2nd start to her 3rd start. That was back on April 9th. It was maiden 16,000 state breds. These are open 20. They're probably about the same. But actually finished 4th that day. Got beat 7 lengths. And then in the interim, she has thrown in a bullet work. On May 6th, she threw in a 48-2, so maybe she's progressing. And why not take a chance in a horse that's eligible to improve? And there's, the 6 and the 7 are your 9-5 and 8-5, and collectively they're 0 for 25. So let's take a chance with 15-1 Unafraid. Maybe this one can improve enough to be a little bit of a surprise today in the Belmont opener. For second, let's go with the number 3, Ballerina Bliss. Dropping down from 30,000 and stretching out. Hasn't been close yet, but you know what? Maybe she can show a little bit of speed. Andre Worry, the Bug Boy, is aboard, so you think he's going to get a little bit aggressive with this daughter of Bellamy Road. And again, I'm trying to find some horses that might be somewhat of a value in here, a very suspect bunch. So I went with the number 3, Ballerina Bliss. Again, the drop down, the stretch out. Maybe an aggressive apprentice rider will send her out there and she can hang on there for a second. And for third, I did go with the number 7, Kevin's Cool Cat. 0 for 15 lifetime is 8-5. The number 6, Fancy in Flight, is over 10 lifetime and is 9-5. But I think Kevin's Cool Cat will be the more forwardly placed. And if these cheaper horses, they don't generally like to finish up and pass other horses. So maybe Kevin's Cool Cat can hang on for third. And again, I'm going against the chalky horses here, and maybe for a little bit of a surprise. But why not in a race like this? 5, 3, and 7 in the Belmont opener.
And I believe it was Sunday when I sat in with you. Didn't you get off to the 3-for-3 start Sunday?
Yes, I
did. with the 2 really short prices, and then in the third race you said, I got to get away from the short prices, and you took a little bit of a shot.
Yeah, actually, I had the triple in that race too.
There you go. There you go.
Yeah,
I knew it was a good start on Sunday. Second race at Belmont today is a maiden claimer, $40,000 tags, 3-year-olds and up, scheduled on the grass at a mile.
I want 1 entry, 3, and 7 here, and the plain one, Reach for Yield, is entered tomorrow in a maiden 50,000 on the dirt. Wouldn't be surprised if that one comes out, but I still do like the 1A Permanent Campaign. Third maiden special weight at Pimlico in his last start on April 6th, and that's comparable here. The maiden special weights at Pimlico, now it's $40,000. Maiden claimant at Belmont. That's a comparable level, and he's going to be trying turf for the very first time, which I don't think is a bad thing. All 3 of my top choices are trying turf for the very first time. So a lot of these don't have proven turf for him to begin with. But, Son of Sky Mesa, have a Grand Slam mare, can certainly turf. Got Manuel Franco aboard, and I think Mandy's going to be urging him out of that 2 post because, I've said they've got that funky little elbow going a mile and 1 16th at Belmont in the turf course. So you think Manny's going to get aggressive with this horse and kick him out of there. He has shown some early foot at times. So I'm going to go Permanent Campaign in my top spot. And again, if Reach for Yield runs today as opposed to tomorrow, I think this horse could improve also. So it makes a pretty nice entry. For second, I went with the number 3, Yes, I'm True. 20-1 in the morning line, and has been away since January 3rd. Where it was third, ran the maiden $40,000 race, was third that day, and the inner dirt. Again, it was January 26th and finished third. And again, trying turf for the very first time. Yes, it's true. A son of Yes, it's true. I mean, most horses do like the turf. Some just don't like the dynamics of it. But a nice gate move on May 18th, a bullet, minute and change. Maybe this horse is improving. Maybe they were hopeful for turf all along. But again, 20-1, I'm going to take a chance with this horse in the second spot. And for third to number 7, Giant Fox. Again, trying turf for the very first time. All three of my choices are. And dropping down from maiden special weight, where he's running this winter. And, debut was okay at maiden special weight, going 6 furlongs, was 4th. Then really regressed in its next race. But, they put this horse on the shelf. Now they're going to bring him back. Try turf at a reduced level. Give him a chance there at 12-1. 1, 3, and 7 in the Belmont second race.
Third race this afternoon at Belmont is an optional claiming event. The claiming tags are $80,000. The condition non-winners of 3 other than. These are 3-year-olds and up, going a mile and a 16th.
1, 2, and 5 here. The number 1, Mr. Palmer. I've never been a huge fan of his, but I think he fits well in here. This is a horse as a 3-year-old, won the private terms at Laurel Park, and then was a pretty good 4th in the Wood Memorial. Got beat less than 5 lengths to Verrazano. Skipped the Kentucky Derby. I don't remember if he's even, probably points-wise, wasn't eligible. But you were thinking that this might be a 3-year-old later in the year that might, join into the top echelon. He just never really got there. He just kind of plateaued from that point. And, he is being moved back down to the allowance ranks today. He's tried Stakes Company his last 2 races. Got beat by Ground Transport, both times, so I guess he's probably going to be happy he doesn't see him. Last time was a 1.25 miles on the Drosselmeyer, and he's coming back to a mile and a 16th, which is a better distance for him. So I think, Mr. Palmer is 8-5, but I think he does fit well in here. Let's put him into the top spot. For second, the number 2, Summer Sunset. Should be the pace setter. His last win was in wire-to-wire fashion, albeit it was January of 2013, so it's been a long time since he's been in the winner's circle. But he was off for a long time, too. He hadn't run since May of last year all the way to April, so about 11 months off. He got a race under his belt. And, again, I think he will be the speed of the race, and lone speed can always be dangerous. We'll have him hanging on for second. And for third to number 5, Dolly. I am a fan of his, but you have to wonder how long he can sustain the consistency that he's had. Rudy Rodriguez, his trainer, has done an excellent job with him. And also you have to question how much pace he has to run into today. If Summer Sunset's your lone speed and is not really necessarily a true speed horse, Dolly likes to have pace to run into, and he might not get the fast pace that he really prefers. But again, you have to admire his consistency. I'll put him in the third spot. 1, 2, and 5 in the Belmont third race.
The Belmont 4th this afternoon. It's a state-bred maiden special weight event. Obviously, these are New York breds, 3-year-olds and up, and they're going 6 furlongs on the grass.
4, 1, and 6 here. The number 4, Old Friend. He's going to benefit a great deal from his debut race at Keeneland maiden special weight. Going 7 furlongs. Obviously, it's open company. He's got state breds today. That was back on April 19th. In that race, he had a little bit of trouble lines. I went back and I've watched it a couple times, and the trouble line says pinched back greenly. And what happened? He broke slowly, and consequently, the other horses just kind of crowded him. He did get squeezed back. He was running a little bit greenly in the first part. And then he leveled off, and he actually made a halfway decent middle move around the turn and flattened out. But at least he showed me something. All that being considered, it was open company. He didn't get off well. He got shuffled back, but at least he did make a run. And obviously, at that point, you'd expect him to kind of flatten out. That was, he had to make a lot of effort just to get involved in the race. And he wasn't bet that day, but he's coming back with New York breds. Going to try turf. I think it's in his pedigree scope. He's 5-1 for Lyndon Taylor Rice, and to me, I think I'd love to get the 5-1 on because I think he's going to improve a great deal off that debut race. I think he got an awful lot out of it. So let's put Old Friend into the top spot. For second, down to the inside to the number 1, Flat Lever. He didn't do much in his debut on April 26th, but trainer Mike Hutchins is going to throw some blinkers on him, and he's worked well subsequently, a bullet 46 and change on May 13th, and you have to assume those with the blinkers on. Generally, if you're going to make that kind of change, you're going to work them at least once or twice with the blinkers on. So maybe this is going to wake that horse up. And he's going to, he's got an inside post. He's going to have to show a little bit more speed to kind of get position going 6 furlongs on the turf. But I think he could move in the right direction. So let's put Flat Lever into the second spot. And for third, the number 6, Shinnecock Bay. This son of Two Punch improved nicely when he switched to the turf in his third career start. And again, he's worked well in the interim, so he, I believe, is still eligible to improve. So in the Belmont 4th race, I think it's a good one, 4, 1, and 6.
Race number 5 this afternoon is a conditional claiming event. The claiming tags are $20,000. Condition non-winners of 3 lifetime. Fillies and Mayors, 3-year-olds and up. They'll go a mile and a 16th.
I didn't see I can do an awful lot with this 5-horse field, and it's 1, 2, and 5. You know, the 1 and 2 are your price horse. I mean, your short price horses. The number 1, 2 Blue Hens, adding blankers and dropping down from $50,000 starters. Her last victory was Never Win 2 Life at Santa Anita in January at the $25,000 level. You know, and then she's tried, you know, move up a little bit, but now she's back into the conditional claiming races. 20,000 Never Win 3 Life should be right in her wheelhouse. Let's put 2 Blue Hens in the top spot. For second, the number 2 Bounty Pink, who demolished the 16,000 Never Won 2 Life field in her previous start on May 15th. So obviously this is the next logical step up. And again, duplication of that effort makes her very tough. So again, and my top 2 are very chalky, but I don't have a lot to work with here. For third, I'll go to number 5, Vindication Spot, who also graduated the Never Win 2 Life level in her last outing, and that was at $16,000 level, going 6 furlongs. And Vindication Spot does prefer to be on the lead. She runs her best races when she's on the lead, but I think she's going to have to work for it today. But it's good to see her trainer, Jimmy Farrell, having a pretty good year. Not such a great year for him last year, but nice to see him rebound and have a good year. So I'll put her in the third spot at 10-1, and maybe she can hold on for a share. 1, 2, and 5 in the Belmont 5th.
All right, we'll take our last break for the hour. When we come back, we'll complete our look at Belmont Stakes for this, or Belmont Park for this Thursday afternoon. Stay tuned. We'll be right back.
Affirmed holding ahead in front, and Alidar on the outside is challenging again.
The build-up to most races or most events, quite often the result is anticlimactic, but that can never be said about the 1978 Belmont.
Affirmed's got a nose in front as they come onto the wire.
The crowd at the Belmont that day, they saw the heart of a true champion.
There are races and there are events. On Saturday, June 7th, experience the richest day in the history of the Belmont Stakes.
I'm Mark Cassano. Join me Saturday mornings at 10 for Down the Stretch. We'll inform, analyze, and welcome in the biggest names in racing. So join me Saturday mornings at 10 for Down the Stretch, right here on the OTB Television Network.
The Capital OTB Handicapping Challenge Series is back. That's right. The 2014 Capital OTB Handicapping Challenge Series is back, and it's your chance to win thousands in cash and prizes, and a seat at the 2015 Handicapping Championship in Las Vegas. This month's contest is the King of the Hill on June 14th. So sign up today, online at capitalotb.com, or stop in at the Clubhouse Racebook.
Funding your Capital OTB bet account is as easy as 1, 2, 3. 1. Easy Money. Clearly the fastest and easiest method of depositing funds into your account. Make deposits or withdrawals in just minutes. 2. Green Dot Money Pack. Gives you instant access to your funds. Green Dot Money Packs are available at thousands of retailers nationwide. And 3. MasterCard Visa. Simply click on the link from the funding page, enter your account information, and fund your account. CapitalOTBBet.com. Log on today.
Hey, race fans, head down to the all-new Clubhouse Racebook and get in the game. With live horse racing on more than 250 flat-screen TVs, state-of-the-art wagering terminals, fantastic food and drinks, an amazing Vegas-style atmosphere with seating for nearly 900 of your closest friends. Conveniently located at 711 Central Avenue, right off Exit 5 of I-90 in Albany, the Clubhouse Racebook is the better choice.
This is Steve Beck. Join me Tuesday through Saturday here on OTB TV for At the Races, my Sirius XM daily news magazine of the thoroughbred industry. Handicapping, interviews, analysis, everything you could want. 6 a.m. OTB TV.
Welcome back. We will continue now our look at Belmont Park 4 this afternoon with their race number 6, which is a $25,000 claimer. Fillies and Mayors, 3-year-olds and up. Again, they're on the turf, 3/4 of a mile.
5, 2, and 6. The number 5, Chelsea Road, 9-5, morning line favorite. And it just looks like Mike Maker and Ken Ramsey are just dropping this horse into a winning spot. She was 5th for $50,000 at Keeneland. That was on the poly track, but she handles turf well. I mean, 2 of her 4 career wins have been on the turf course, and it just looks to me like they're going to drop her in to a winning spot. As you know, they like to win races. So Chelsea Road, I'm going to put into the top spot. Again, she's going to be favored. I tried to find a horse that maybe could make a decent exact, and I went with the number 2, Finder's Key. Tom Albertrain, the trainer, claimed this one out of her last start for $16,000, never win 3 life, and said, I don't remember Tom Albertrain ever claiming a horse. I mean, it's not something he normally does. This horse has never tried the turf in 17 starts, so maybe they saw something, that would infer that she's going to like the turf. And again, I don't remember Tommy ever claiming a horse. That's for $16,000. So to me, that was intriguing enough at 8-1. Obviously, maybe they see something. Let's put her into the second spot. And for third, the number 6, Persnickety, dropping down from $40,000 to $25,000. Also cutting back to the sprint race, where she had some success in the Mid-Atlantic last year. She won a race at Colonial Downs, going 5.5. Again, at 5.5 at Laurel, she won. So, again, you always say confirmed turf sprinter. She can do it. Let's put her in the third spot. 5, 2, and 6 in the Belmont 6th race.
Race number 7 at Belmont this afternoon. It is a plain vanilla claimer at the $40,000 level. These are 3-year-olds and up. They will go 6 furlongs.
I wasn't really crazy about anybody in this race because none of them are coming off really great efforts. So I'm going to go 8, 5, and 7 here. The number 8, Head, Heart, Hoof. Obviously he has some back class. He did win the toboggan, the Grade 3 toboggan in 2013, and he's gone down the ladder. But he was claimed back in February by David Jacobson off of Rudy Rodriguez for $30,000. I'm sure they intended on making quite a bit of money with him this winter. Obviously, there must have been something, some kind of issue with him because he was trounced that day. He got beat 10 lengths. He went to the lead like he usually does. But maybe the time off has helped him. And one thing I am encouraged by is the fact that David Jacobson is putting him in for 40. He claimed him for 30, so it's not like he's dropping him down, for the 12-5. He's keeping him at a decent level. And at 6-1, he's probably going to be the only speed in the race, and maybe that little break is what he needed. Again, this horse has made over $500,000. He's got the back class. Let's put him in the top spot. For second, I went with the number 5, Hackleton, who's dropping from $62,000 onto turf. He's coming back to $40,000 where he was second 2 starts back. Again, his last race wasn't horrible. They tried him on the turf. He ran okay. And now he's coming back to the right level. He's 7-2. Let's put him in the second spot. And for third, the number 7, Collusive. Returning from a decent third in an entry-level allowance race, was claimed 2 starts back out of a win for $25,000. So probably just back to more of a proper level for him. But I'll go with the old-timer here, Seth, coming off a layoff. 8, 5, and 7, the Belmont 7.
I think Head, Heart, Hoof was actually locally owned early in the career. Elliot Mazie up in Saratoga, I think, owned that one. 8th race at Belmont this afternoon, optional claiming event, $62,500. Non-winners are 2 other than the condition. Fillies and mares, 3-year-olds and up. Again, 6 furlongs the trip.
3, 6, and 4 here. The number 3, Sky Skier. Maybe a tad quicker than the number 4, Laguna Girl, and she is posted inside of her. And, her last race, Sky Skier dug in very, very gamely on May 8th versus Calistoga. She's 24-1 that day and held on for second. She's 7-2, and I need her to duplicate that effort. I'm hopeful she can do it. I'm hopeful she can outbreak the number 4 Laguna Girl and get sent along her way. So I'll put the number 3 Sky Skier into my top spot. For second, I'll go to the outsides, number 6 How, who will be seeking her 3rd straight. Daughter of Indian Charlie, I think is going to benefit if a speed duel does develop in front of her with Sky Skier and Laguna Girl. How broke her maiden going 6 furlongs in her second career start, and then subsequently she won going 1 mile and 70 yards, but that was March 9th, so she's had a little bit of time off. She's been freshened up a little bit for Rudy Rodriguez, and again, I think she'll benefit if a speed duel does percolate, so I'm going to put her in the second spot. For third, the number 4 Laguna Girl. It's going to be interesting to see how she starts. She's had some gait issues her last 2 races. 2 starts back, December 27th. She was in the Are We Dreamin' Stakes, beat Mary Meadow that day. I don't remember, said she lunged at the start, and it almost looked like a false start. But it wasn't. She just happened to lunge at the most opportune time, went out to the lead and kept going. Then the next time out, she broke through the gate. So obviously this is not a filly that has a lot of patience in the starting gate. But she has raced against some goodies. She faced La Verdad last time, and again she beat Mary Meadow. I'm just kind of hopeful maybe she has some gate issues today, and my top choice, Sky Skier, can sneak away from her early. But I will put Laguna Girl into the top spot. So that rarely works out when they lunge like that. She lands in stride and takes off and runs. But it worked out for her that day. 3, 6, and 4 in the Belmont 8th race.
9th and final today is a conditional claiming event. Claiming tags are $16,000. The condition non-winners are 2 lifetime fillies and mares, 3-year-olds and up. They'll go 7 furlongs.
9, 8, and 10 here. The number 9, Miss Silver Birch. 1 for 15 lifetime, but for the red-hot Glenn DeSanto barn. Was second this level last time on May 11th, going 6 furlongs. Today it's 7 furlongs. Maybe that's just going to be enough to get Miss Silver Birch at 15-1 into the top spot. For second, I'll go with the number 8, Caught by You. This 5-year-old is going to be returning from a 2-year layoff and dropping dramatically all the way down to 16,000. Obviously, something went very, very wrong with this filly 2 years ago. She's in the hands of Tom Morley now, who we both know does a very good job with his horses. I don't see a lot of works under. I only see 4 works underneath there, so I'm a little bit trepidatious. But again, I respect Tom Morley and the work he does, so I'm going to put Caught by You into the second spot. And for third, the number 10, Copper Bluff, dropping down from State Bred Entry 11 allowance race on April 23rd. Her prior race was September, so she came off a long layoff. She didn't figure in that race and never really got involved. You know what? Now they're dropping her down to 16,000, and maybe they're looking to unload her, but her best race, I think, will put her in the picture. 9, 8, and 10 in the Belmont finale.
I still love the name of Roddy Valenti's horse in this race, Share and Stone.
Yes.
And Share as in S-H-A-R-N, Share and Stone. All right, that wraps things up for the handicapping. We looked at Belmont and Arlington, a couple of the tracks you'll enjoy on the network this afternoon. Belmont kicks things off, then we move on to Belterra, Arlington, Louisiana Downs, Presque Isle Downs gets in the mix a little later on. Vernon, Saratoga Harness, Yonkers, and Mohawk. Plenty of action to keep you entertained on your Thursday afternoon and evening. Don't forget, go over to capitalotb.com to pick up a printable copy of the Handicappers Report. If you didn't write down each and every one of our hot selections today, you can get them right there on the website. Every day, the Handicappers Report printable sheet is available. Also, go to capitalotb.com to find out all the events and promotions that are coming up. One of those is the Bet 50, Get 50, which allows you to sign up for a wagering account. Bet your first 50 in, and then Capital OTB puts another 50 in if you become a new Capital Bets wagering account holder. And as you saw, if you do become a new wagering account holder, you can use our state-of-the-art platform, capitalotbbet.com. So it all comes full circle. And hopefully you catch some bets, and it's even better. It's even a bigger, more fun circle.
Yeah.
All right, that's going to wrap things up for the Thursday edition of the Handicappers Report. Seth Merrow and Jeff Carl. We'll wrap things up right now, but don't forget, stay tuned. Up next, Racing Across America.
You're watching OTB TV, a service of Capital Off Track Betting.